Hi boys and girls, today we're going to talk about comparing decimals, okay? So when you compare decimals, the first thing you want to look at is the place value. So I'm just going to rewrite something that we've written a ton of times, and that's the ones place, the tenths place, and the hundredths place. Now, based on our prior knowledge, we know that the ones place is our biggest place value. It is worth more than the tenths and the hundredths. So when you start comparing two numbers, you always check the ones place first, okay? If your numbers are the same, then you move on to the next biggest place value, which is the tenths place. So I'm going to write down a couple numbers, and I'm going to show you what I mean when I say that. So looking at our math book, it has two numbers being compared, and that is 11 hundredths compared to 9 hundredths. Now, if you look at it, they both have two digits. Check your biggest place value first. So the ones place. This one has nothing in the ones place, also known as 0, and this one has nothing in the ones place, 0. So that doesn't really tell us anything. So you move to your next place value, which is the tenths place. This one has a 1 in the tenths place, and this one has a 0 in the tenths place. So you have to ask yourself, what's bigger, 1 or 0? Well, 1 is bigger, so that means that this is our bigger decimal. Now remember, it eats the bigger one. That's kind of a trick to remember it. It eats the bigger number. So compare it by the biggest place value first. So that's what we're doing. So our next one we're going to try is 7 tenths compared to 57 hundredths. So a lot of times kids will see this and they'll say this has two numbers, so this is the bigger of the two. Well, you have to actually start at the largest place value to see if that's accurate. So we look here, there's nothing in the ones, nothing in the ones. Check the tenths, 7 and 5. What's bigger, 7 or 5? 7. So the 7 is actually bigger. Now, if you're asking yourself, how is the 7 bigger? This one has two digits. This 7 tenths is actually the same as 70 hundredths. So if you were to look at it like that, 70 hundredths or 57 hundredths, what's bigger, 70 or 57? The 70. Okay, so remember when you're comparing decimals, you want to start with your biggest place value, and then you move until you find where there's a difference. Then you ask yourself which of those is bigger, and that will lead you to your bigger decimal. Now, if you're comparing more than two decimals, you just have to repeat that process for however many numbers you're comparing. Okay? If you have questions, email me, put it in the comments. Hopefully it cleared some things up. Until next time.